Hey everyone, Shaun Stevenson here, author of the Throne series, and yes, it is a snowy day today, so I thought, okay, I have to wait for it to stop snowing, I'm waiting for a couple things to come in the mail, and then I can get on with my day, so I thought, all right, why don't I just film a quick, there's a lot to show you, a quick book haul video of all the books that I've been getting over the Christmas season, a little bit before Christmas in December. I have a lot of books to show you. So I also got a wonderful gift card to Thrift Books, which I was super excited about for Christmas. Shout out to my brother-in-law who got that for me. So I am so excited about that. So I definitely have used it already and gotten some amazing stuff. So I want to show you everything I've gotten so far. So let's dive right in. First up, I got another Spooksville book by Christopher Pike, and this is one I've been missing because I've read book 1 and I read book 2, but I did not have book 3, The Haunted Cave. So now I have The Haunted Cave. I actually have just read this one. It was a lot of fun. I kind of enjoy Spooksville. I think it's really interesting. There's a lot going on in like the background of this series. I'm not going to review this because it's not a review video, but I will have a review of this sometime soon because I really enjoyed reading this book. And then I also got the first book in the My Babysitter is a Vampire series by Anne Hodgman, which I just finished reading this. And this book was also a lot of fun. It has a really creepy atmosphere. It'd probably be better as a summertime book, honestly, than a wintertime book. But it was so much fun. I really enjoyed this one. And then I also got book number 2 in the My Babysitter's a Vampire series. My Babysitter Has Fangs by Anne Hodgman. And I haven't read this one yet. I have book 3 as well. So I cannot wait to read this because book 1 ended so climactic. Like, it was so good. It had a really satisfying ending. And so I'm like, oh, there's a second book. What is gonna happen? This is like back in the days when there weren't always sequels to books, you know? It wasn't like, oh, automatic series, here we go. It was like built on whatever happened in the first book. So I am very excited to see what happens in book number 2. And then this book I've been excited to get because now I have the whole trilogy, but I was a little sad with the condition. I guess that's what you get when you accept acceptable for the condition of a book on Thrift Books. But nothing against Thrift Books. It's my choice to accept the acceptable one. But I did pick up book number 2 in the Cragbridge Hall series by Chad Morris, and this is the Avatar Battle. And as you can see, it has like this rip right here on the cover. But that's okay. I can still read the book. It's not harmed. It's just that little rip at the front. So I'm excited to read this series. It's another series from Shadow Mountain, which is one of my favorite publishers. So I cannot wait to read this and find out what happens. And then my family sent me this book for Christmas, and I was super excited because my brother and my mom had both read it, and they said it was so much fun. So this one is R.L. Stine's Fear Street, The Perfect Date. So I can't wait to read this. I read couple other Fear Streets recently, and it was so much fun to read them. So I'm looking forward to reading this one. And then I got another book in the Graveyard School series by Tom B. Stone, and that is book number 9, The Abominable Snow Monster. So I'm excited to read this one during this winter season because, hey, it's snowy outside, so I might as well dive in. And then I was led wrong on this series. Something told me this was book number 5 on a list, I think on Wikipedia. So I thought, oh, okay, that's book number 5. And I didn't pay too much close attention. I just got it. But that is book number actually 11 in the Bloodhounds Inc. series. And that is Mystery of the Melodies from Mars by Bill Myers. I've read 2 of these books now. They are a ridiculous kind of Scooby-Doo fun. I actually have really enjoyed both of the ones I read. These might be, it's not my favorite series from Bill Myers, which is Forbidden Doors, but this might be my second favorite from him. So I'm interested to read what happens in this book. And then I got 2 more Ghosts of Fear Street books that I didn't have yet. I got book number 11, and that is House of a Thousand Screams. So I'm excited to read this one. And then I also got book number 13, How to Be a Vampire, which I think I now have a run from 1 to 21, and then a couple later ones of the Ghosts of Fear Street books. So I'm excited to start reading more of these because I've really enjoyed all the ones I've read so far. And then I got another book in the Spine Tingler series by M.T. Coffin, and that is Snow Day, book number 7, another snow-themed one. I was like, oh, I should just go for the snow-themed ones because it is snowy. And, this looks like a lot of fun. So I've been collecting some of the Whitman Classics books lately, and this one looked really interesting to me. It is a Troy Nesbitt mystery by Troy Nesbitt, The Indian Mummy Mystery. So these are like these old school hard case kind of books. So I'm super curious to see what this book is all about. And then I got another book in the Incredible Worlds of Wally McDougall series, and this is book number 8, My Life as an Afterthought Astronaut. So this one is by Bill Myers, and I am interested to read more of this series. Another book technically by Bill Myers is McGee and Me, book number 1, The Big Lie. I found this one at a Half Price Books, and I was super excited, so I can't wait to read it. And then I picked up another book in the Dead Time Stories series, book number 2, Invasion of the Appleheads, which this cover is nightmare fuel. So we'll have to see what happens in this particular book. And then I found another minstrel book from the 90s. These often minstrel books, they had like a lot of standalone stories, and they did a bunch of like spooky books. So this one is called Spook House, and I am curious what is going on in this book. The back sounded really interesting. And then I picked up 2 more Carmen Sandiego books. This time I got Where in Europe is Carmen Sandiego? And I also got Where in Time is Carmen Sandiego Part 2. So these both have the original cards all still intact inside. You can use these to as you go through the book, trying to solve the case and who's where. So I was super excited to find both of these, especially with all the cards intact, because you can tear these out, but I obviously don't want to do that. But these both had them intact inside, which I was excited about. And these are pretty clean copies of them. And then I have book number 2 in this series, but I found book number 1, and that is R.L. Stine's The Beast, which is based on a roller coaster, and I love roller coasters. So I'm excited now I can finally read this little series. I think there's 2 books for sure, and there might be a third. I can't off the top of my head remember. But I'm excited to read The Beast. And then I picked up 4 more Outer Limits books by John Peel. So I got book number 2, which this one's called The Choice. And book number 4, The Lost. And then book number 6, The Innocent. And then this one is really creepy looking. But book number 9, Beware the Metal Children. This looks so creepy to me. And then I found there was a local store that was doing a book drive kind of thing to raise money for a hospital for kids. So I thought, I'll take a look, see what books they have. And I found a few that I was excited about. So I found this one, Who Knew There'd Be Ghosts? And this is by Bill Britton. This is like an ex-library copy. Normally this one comes in paperback, but this is a hardback because it's an ex-library copy. And then I also picked up The Mummy's Revenge by Roy Pond at that same sale. And then I have book number 1 in this series, but I found book number 4, which I actually didn't know existed. I thought there was only 2 of these books because they had canceled it, but this is book number 4 in the National Treasure series, Westward Bound. So I'm excited to read some of these because I loved especially the first National Treasure movie was so much fun. The second one I didn't like as much, but the first one, so good. So I'm curious to see what is happening in these books. And then this one is really interesting. I found this, it's an ex-library copy of Choose Your Own Nightmare, and this is book number 15, How I Became a Freak, which I was excited to find this one, especially being an ex-library copy and it's all hardback. So I was excited about that. And then I also found 4 books in the Scareville series by John Ward at a Half Price Books. So I picked up all 4 of them because I've been looking at these, they've been on my wish list, and I thought, oh, here's all 4, great price, I'm gonna buy them. So I got book number 1, Welcome to Scareville, and then book number 2, How to Create a Monster, which that is so creepy. And then this one looks so terrifying. Book number 3, which is Monsters of Mount Hope, which that is nightmare. And then book number 4, A Very Scary Christmas. Ugh. That's so scary looking. And then I found another Berenstain Bears book that I didn't have yet. I did have this one when I was younger and I remember it, and I'm probably gonna save it for Halloween time, but this is The Berenstain Bears in the Freaky Funhouse by Stan and Jan Berenstain. And then I found another Clue book. This is Clue number 13, and this is called Revenge of the Mummy. And then moving on to some other books that I got. This one is not the kind of books I normally talk about on my channel, but I do really enjoy reading like historical, like kind of deep dives into different subjects. And so this one is God Gave You Rock and Roll by Leah Payne, who actually, Leah Payne was one of my professors when I was in seminary. So this one is all about a history of the contemporary Christian music world, which this book sounds so fascinating. I cannot wait to read this. And then this one I actually picked up at a Barnes & Noble, and as you can see, I'm like halfway through. And this book, I like it, but I am struggling to get through it. I will not lie. It's a spooky book, but it's a little more cozy than I think I would have anticipated. And that is The Pumpkin Princess and the Forever Knight. And this book, like I said, it's been really fun so far, but it is so cozy and very slow moving and a little bit obvious here and there so far. So I have been reading this. I started reading it like back in the end of November, and I am still reading it in January, and it's just a slow go, but I still enjoy it. So this is kind of like if you really want a super cozy Halloweenish type story, like real cozy, this one is fun. And then my brother found this one for me at a Goodwill, and this is The Last Kids on Earth, which is kind of like a combo, like it's sort of like a combo like prose, but also like some cartoon art in it, which looks really interesting. So I've seen this series before and I've never picked it up, but I'm curious to read it. And then I found this one at Barnes & Noble as well, and this one just looked kind of interesting to me. This one is called Spineless. This is a newer book, and this one's by Samantha San Miguel. And so I'm really curious. It sounds like this is book 1 in a series so far, and it's kind of like a little bit of a globe-trotting sort of adventure with like monsters and things. So I am curious to read this and see how it is. Okay, now I've heard hype about these books for a very long time. People always talk about them. People always seem to really enjoy like these books. They love this world. And since it's a fantasy series, I thought, well, maybe I would like it. I've never tried one, but I found them at Goodwill for 99 cents. So I thought, okay, I'll pick up these 3. And I got book 1 so I can kind of see what it's about. And so I picked up Brandon Sanderson's Mistborn. So we'll see what I think of this book. I am very curious because I know it has so much hype. So I hope I'm going in with low expectations because I hope I'm not disappointed reading this book, but I'm very curious to read it and see what it's all about. And then I also picked up Brandon Sanderson's The Alloy of Law, which is in the Mistborn series. And then I also got The Hero of Ages by Brandon Sanderson, which is also in the Mistborn series. And then I picked up another Fear Street book, and this one, I didn't get to read it on New Year's, which I was a little sad about. I didn't have time. But I picked up The New Year's Party, the super chiller in the Fear Street series by R.L. Stine. And then my mom and my sister were actually at an antique store and they found a few books. So one of them I cannot show you because it is a Goosebumps book that I didn't have yet. And so they found that one and I was like, yes, please get that. But they found these ones for me, 2 from the Nightmare Hall series. So this one is book number 9, The Nightwalker. And then book number 22, The Vampire's Kiss. And then they also picked up R.L. Stine's Call Waiting, which I'm excited to read this one. It sounds so interesting. And then they also found R.L. Stine's Beach Party. And then I also got R.L. Stine's The Boyfriend. So a few more R.L. Stine, like classic vintage thrillers. And then last but not... No! I'm dropping books. Okay. And then last but not least, I got a few more Murder, She Wrote books. And okay, I'm not gonna lie, I cannot remember if I already hauled these or not. So I thought, well, I'll just put them at the end and here we go. So I got 5 more Murder, She Wrote books. So I got Murder, She Wrote, Knock 'em Dead. And then I also got 3 Strikes and You're Dead. I also picked up The Ghost and Mrs. Fletcher, which is such a great play on The Ghost and Mrs. Muir. So I'm curious to see what they do with this. And then Manuscript for Murder. And then last but not least, A Time for Murder. So those are all the books that I've been recently picking up. I am so excited to read these books. And now that I've hauled them, I can put them upstairs in the library, which is really why I wanted to do this video, because the library is getting so close to being able to show all of you, and I cannot wait. I've been filming since we started renovating this thing and have lots of different clips of it in progress. And so I will have a video coming out of like the progress of us putting together the library, and it's looking so good. I cannot wait to show you, but it's not quite ready yet. So now I can get these books all put up there, and I'm super excited. So we will see you next time. Until then, keep reading, everybody. Bye.